She's so rotten, she wants migrants picking cotton. We present to you Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who made this shocking argument why America needs immigrants. Roll it, Alfred.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands.
This is when the wheels fall off.
You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
Tyrus, I go to you for no particular reason.
Ever wonder what happens when Jasmine Crockett steps into a heated showdown with Gutfeld and Tyrus? Armed with a familiar talking point and plenty of confidence, things quickly took an unexpected turn. Gutfeld fired off sharp jokes one after another, Tyrus delivered his trademark one-liners, and Crockett suddenly looked like she was caught in the middle of a comedy roast instead of a serious debate. So what sparked the clash? Why are people still talking about it? Trust me, this is one exchange you won't want to miss. Hit play and see how it all unfolded.
I'll take it from there, Gutfeld. I'm going to explain to you what happened.
Okay.
Same thing that happened on this show.
Yes.
She got the job. That was the get the job voice. Remember when I first met you? Good evening, Gutfeld. It's nice to meet you. It's a real pleasure to be here. Oh, cool. Once I got the job, what it is, let's crack jokes. So that's all it is. That's all it is. You know, it's just.
So, Jasmine Crockett. With a name like that, you'd expect someone who walks into the room with confidence, energy, and a strong game plan. Instead, she often comes across as stuck repeating the same political talking points and familiar slogans. Rather than bringing fresh ideas to the conversation, she seems caught in a loop of buzzwords and constant criticism. At times, it feels like she's still deciding whether she's leading a movement or just sitting through another meeting about how to lead one. The result is a politician who talks a lot about change, but often struggles to convince people that anything is actually changing.
Jasmine Crockett still conceals the meaning of Hot Wheels. The Texas Congresswoman still won't apologize over making fun of Texas Governor Abbott's disability. Here's what she said that kicked it off.
We in these hot-ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now.
Whoa.
And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot-ass mess, honey. So,
Now, she claims that she wasn't talking about Abbott's wheelchair at all. Yet she's mentioned Abbott's wheels before. In 2022, she posted Beto's rolling around the state. Where is Abbott rolling to?
Jasmine Crockett's rise in politics happened surprisingly fast, almost like one of those viral social media trends that seems to appear overnight. She certainly knows how to grab attention and command the spotlight. But when people look beyond the headlines and focus on the results, the conversation often changes. She puts a lot of emphasis on presentation and messaging, yet critics argue that the substance doesn't always match the performance. It's a bit like watching a movie with an incredible trailer, only to find that the story never quite delivers on the excitement it promised. Lots of big expectations, plenty of bold statements, but many people are still waiting for the payoff.
You gotta, to get the job, you know, you gotta leave the Negro at home and do the, like, you know, the what it is afternoon, and then once you get in, you can say whatever you want to say. Listen, everyone talks different with their crew and their people. Everyone has a different way of talking when they're with other people or whatever. She's too comfortable, and she thinks she's clever when she does that. But here's the cold part. Somebody's writing that for her.
Yeah.
That's why she had to remember and look back, because apparently Hot Wheels she thought was going to be someone thought it was a wonderful joke and it was going to do well. So she set it up, but she doesn't read good because she's like, and this, and then she said the Hot Wheels, and as soon as she said it, it didn't get the reaction that she thought it would.
Her position on Law and Order often leaves people trying to figure out exactly where she stands. One moment she sounds tough on crime, and the next she's talking about rethinking parts of the system. Critics say the message can feel unclear, as if she's trying to appeal to several different audiences at the same time. It's the kind of balancing act that can end up leaving everyone with more questions than answers. And when voters are looking for clear direction, mixed signals rarely inspire much confidence. Then there are the speeches. Oh yes, the speeches.
you're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
Tyrus, I go to you for no particular reason. Is she making any point there?
Like this makes me wish my mom made different father choices.
They often feel packed with familiar talking points, uplifting slogans, and trendy political phrases, but not always the kind of substance that leaves a lasting impression. Critics argue that the speeches can sound more like motivational seminars than policy discussions, filled with feel-good language that gets plenty of applause but leaves people wondering what the actual plan is. At times, you almost expect every speech to end with a catchy slogan or a call for positive energy rather than a detailed solution. The presentation is polished, but many listeners are still waiting for the substance to match the style.
People write, this is why when white people write black slang, weird happens.
Yeah.
And this is what happens.
Well,
Like, if I wanted to get ethnic on somebody, I wouldn't call Joe and be like, hey, Joe, write me some hood. No offense, Tyrus, I get right to it. Gee Willikers, that's not the guy. What? That doesn't sound like Joe Mackey?
Crockett's critics argue that many of her policy ideas sound better in speeches than they do in practice. They say her approach often generates plenty of attention but fewer lasting results. While she regularly makes headlines and sparks online conversations, opponents question how much of that translates into meaningful legislation. They also accuse her of focusing heavily on messaging and public image, pointing to a social media presence filled with trending causes and political commentary. To her critics, the pattern is familiar. Lots of talk, plenty of visibility, and constant debate, but not enough concrete achievements to match the spotlight.
About him is that he is a hot mess, honey. So,
Of course, Crockett now claims Hot Wheels was about shipping migrants out of the state. Don't you get that? Not the governor's condition. If only there was video that perfectly encapsulates the liberal inability to land a lick on MAGA. Turns out we have one. Roll it, Bjorn.
He's a racist. How can I be
He's
racist?
a racist. If you voted for Trump, you're a racist.
I hope you enjoy the hat.
Oh, she took a tackle.
Never get tired of that.
And then there's Tyrus, who never misses a chance to deliver a sharp jab. During the exchange, he came out swinging with joke after joke, putting Crockett on the defensive almost immediately. To critics, it looked like she was struggling to answer some of the contradictions in her own messaging. They argue that while she often presents herself as a champion for everyday people, her focus seems to be more on public perception and political branding. The criticism is simple: plenty of attention, plenty of headlines, but not enough results. In their view, she's mastered the art of staying in the spotlight, yet many voters are still waiting to see the kind of accomplishments that match the rhetoric. If politics is ultimately about turning words into action, her opponents say the gap between the two remains her biggest challenge.
So, Dana, Governor Hot Wheels, she claims that it had nothing to do with the fact that he actually moves by wheels in a wheelchair, and he's good looking.
Her cleanup was worse. That was one of the worst things I've ever seen. It was super dumb. So basically she's saying, I didn't do it. And even I did do it, though, we're the victims.
Ever notice how Jasmine Crockett talks about justice as if a few well-placed buzzwords can solve every problem? She leans heavily on phrases like equity, reform, and community solutions. But critics often ask the same question: what's the actual plan? They argue that the message sounds polished, yet the details are often unclear. The confusion doesn't stop there. One moment she sounds like a fierce critic of the establishment, and the next she's working alongside many of the same political groups she claims to challenge. Her positions on crime and policing have also drawn criticism, with opponents saying her messaging can feel inconsistent and difficult to follow. If her political career were a TV series, critics might call it Condictions and Cliffhangers, because every new statement seems to raise more questions than answers. Supporters see nuance, but opponents see mixed signals. Either way, many voters are still looking for a clearer picture of where she truly stands.
Jasmine Crockett's got another hot take. No blacks and whites on a wedding cake. The Democrats' new chosen one, Jasmine Crockett, is in the news again for an old clip where she attacked Florida Rep. Byron Donalds for marrying a white woman. Roll it, Bertha.
Or literally, it's because you married a white woman and so you think that that whitewashed you.
That's not very woke, is it?
Some critics say Crockett's policy ideas sound appealing on paper, but raise questions when it comes to real-world results. Her proposals on issues like juvenile justice are often presented as compassionate solutions, yet opponents argue that many of the practical challenges are left unanswered. To them, the focus is often on the message rather than the details of how the plan would actually work. One thing few people dispute is her ability to command attention. Crockett speaks with confidence and energy, delivering speeches packed with passion and memorable talking points. Critics, however, argue that the excitement isn't always matched by clear solutions. They say her speeches can feel inspiring in the moment but leave listeners wondering what comes next. The same criticism extends to her public image. While she frequently speaks about reform and change, opponents argue that some of the most pressing concerns facing her constituents don't receive the same level of attention. In their view, voters are looking for results, not just strong messaging. As a result, critics often question whether her focus is on solving problems today or building momentum for the next stage of her political career.
Of course, Crockett isn't the only Democrat who's opposed to interracial marriage, or else more Democrats would have voted for this one. Racist! Tyrus, I go to you for no apparent reason. Do you have an opinion on this, or should I move on to somebody?
No, it has to come from me.
Yes.
Okay. None of y'all are qualified. Not just for one thing, I'm mad at Charmaine the guy because he should have kicked her out. See, the problem is that we are allowing our own culture to be openly racist and get away with it. Now, if a white person is offended by that, and they should be.
Critics argue that Crockett's approach to issues like education and economic development follows a familiar pattern. Bold promises, strong messaging, and plenty of attention, but fewer concrete results. They say her speeches are filled with inspiring language and popular political themes, yet often leave unanswered questions about how those goals will actually be achieved. Even so, Crockett continues to maintain a strong public profile. Her supporters see a passionate advocate, while her critics see a politician who excels at messaging more than governing. In their view, she has mastered the art of staying in the spotlight, turning headlines and social media attention into political influence. Whether that's effective leadership or simply effective branding remains at the center of the debate surrounding her career.
They say something, it's like it's not the same thing. But if you say that, and another brother looks at you and goes, "Man, you wrong for that, and I don't want you on my show. Get the hell out." Because I'm telling you right now, if I was not on the show, which happens sometimes, and someone was sitting in his chair and he was complaining about black men this and black that, and they shouldn't be here, and you know what happens when a white woman marries a black guy, you would not have seen that guy in the next segment. He would have kicked his ass off, because you're not going to talk about somebody that I care about like that, or another person like that. That's the problem.
Meanwhile, Tyrus and Greg Gutfeld didn't hold back. Throughout the exchange, they challenged Crockett's arguments point by point, using humor, sarcasm, and sharp criticism to highlight what they saw as weaknesses in her positions. Critics of Crockett argue that the pair exposed inconsistencies in her messaging, particularly on issues like crime, reform, and accountability. They questioned whether her policies matched her promises and argued that many of her talking points sounded stronger than the results behind them. According to her opponents, Crockett often presents herself as a champion for change, but struggles to provide clear answers when faced with tough questions. Their conclusion was simple: plenty of passion, plenty of headlines, but not enough substance to back up the rhetoric. Whether fair or not, that's the criticism that continues to follow her whenever these debates take center stage.
Is that we let too much slide, because that's embarrassing. So what you're basically saying is Barack Obama was not the first black president now. So that means that Donald Trump is the first black president, according to you.
Yeah.
So at some point, and listen, I have been with every shade of woman on the planet. I started out black, and then I went Pacific Islander, Asian, had a little Hispanic phase, and then I ran out of to do and ended up with a white one. That's just how it happened. But they're all, I'm telling you, they all bitch the same, they all take your money the same, they all don't sleep with you all the time the same, and they all leave you the same.
That's why critics say the exchanges with Greg Gutfeld and Tyrus feel less like a roast and more like a challenge to Crockett's record and messaging. Their argument is that real leadership requires more than catchy slogans and strong social media moments. It requires clear plans, difficult decisions, and measurable results. To her opponents, Crockett spends too much time focused on presentation and not enough on performance. They argue that while she remains a high-profile political figure, many voters are still waiting to see the kind of results that match the promises. In the end, they say the debate isn't just about one politician. It's about whether style can ever replace substance when people are looking for real leadership.